Hey y'all, it's Miss Johnson. I'm not sure that you can see my face, but now I'm sure. All right, hello. Um, Welcome to another YouTube video of Learning Algebra 1. Today we are talking about, in class we were talking about how to change between the forms of quadratics. We reviewed how to go from standard to factored and from factored to standard. And now we want to start thinking about how to go from vertex to standard. So if we're given the vertex form, how to go to standard, and then start making headway onto going from standard to vertex, which is completely new. The two skills we're going to practice today are going from vertex to standard and something called completing the square. We'll go over both of them now, but again, if you have questions, email me, come to office hours, reach out, and we can talk in or outside of class. All right, let's review from class how to go from vertex to standard form. So if we're given something in vertex form, let's just use this example to start off. We're going to have an A, an H, and a K. In order to put it into standard form, which is just a number times x squared plus a number times x plus a number, we're going to box multiply this part, the x minus h squared part. Then we're going to distribute the A into that multiplied out, and then we're going to add the K on the back. Let's follow these steps with an example. Box multiply the x minus h squared part. So off to the side, we'll have a box. Because this is squared, this means there's two x minus 5s. So there's going to be an x minus 5 on the top and an x minus 5 on the side. When we multiply these, we get x times x is x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. And a negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. We then, off to the side, rewrite everything that's not underlined in green, and then replace the stuff underlined in green with the stuff from the box. Right? I put a negative 10x because that's negative 5 plus negative 5. All right, we have successfully box multiplied the x minus h part. The next thing we're supposed to do is distribute the A. So our A was 4. We're going to distribute this to each of the terms in parentheses. 4 times x squared is 4x squared. 4 times negative 10x is negative 40x. And 4 times positive 25 is positive 100. Again, the stuff that was untouched just gets copied down. And now we've distributed the A part. The last and final step is adding on the K value. So the K value here was 16. We're just going to add these back two numbers because they're both numbers and we're allowed to add them together. Get 116. We've now added these, and that is our final step. We have a finished standard form of the same quadratic. So we started with vertex form, and we ended with the standard form by following these steps. All right, let's practice one more time before I let you loose and try it on your own. So first step, box multiply. It is always, when we're going from vertex to standard form, we are always going to have the same thing on the top of our box as we do on the side of our box. We are going to always have these two numbers be the exact same, right, for these two terms, because the top and the side are the same. And then when we write this out, we'll be able to add the two 10x's and get 20x, thus getting x squared plus 20x plus 100 here, and copying down the negative 2, copying down the negative 40. Now we distribute the 2 to everything inside of the parentheses, and then copy down the negative 40 afterwards. So negative 2 times x squared is negative 2x squared. Negative 2 times 20x is negative 40x. And negative 2 times 100 is negative 200. we're going to copy down the minus 40 because it was unchanged. Our last step is simplifying by adding these two numbers together, or in our case, subtracting them. Negative 200 minus 40 is negative 240, and this is a completed standard form of this quadratic. Again, starting with vertex form. If you want, you can pause the video here, practice that on your worksheet, and then come back, or you can keep listening and then do it all at once. But this is the place to pause and to start that section if you do that. Let's get into the next part. The next part says, let's find it. The next part says complete the square for the following expressions. Completing the square is basically when we have vertex form, we always have this squared part. Always, always, always. Vertex form, we think of it as like half factored, half not, you know? But the factored part is always two of the same factor. It's always something squared. So we want to be able to say, when we factor things, regular factoring, what pattern emerges that gives us something squared? So let's factor these kind of quickly. If we've got x squared plus 6x plus, and then there's a number on the back, x squared plus 6x plus a number on the back, x squared plus 6x plus a number on the back. Let's see what these three different numbers in the back mean for our factors. If we've got x squared plus 6x plus 5, we want things that multiply to 5 and add to 6. So we're going to do 5 times 1 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. If we had an 8 on the back instead, if we have x squared plus 6x plus 8, this would be 4 and 2. Nope. Right? Because 4 times 2 is 8, and 4 plus 2 is 6. This bottom one would be x plus 3 and x plus 3. Since 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 plus 3 is 6. This last one is the special one, right? This last one can be written as x plus 3 squared because there's two of them, and this is the one we want to examine and really think about a lot. Because these two numbers are the same, we're allowed to write it as a squared, and we want that for our vertex form. And it's notable, it's worth paying attention to, the fact that the 3 is exactly half of 6. Right? That's gonna have a theme. When we're actually changing from standard to vertex form, and I know I'm building this up like it's this awful thing. It's really not. We're just going slow so that we make sure that we get it. If instead of all these examples, we were just told, we've got this, and we want a number in the back that would make it x plus something squared, and our job would be to find this number. Spoilers, we know it's 9. But if we didn't know the number, how would we do it? We're going to do like a modified box situation. We're going to say, okay, we know we want this number twice. So we know if we do a box, this part and this part are going to be equal, which means these two numbers should also be equal, which means we've got an x squared, we've got our mystery, that's what we're trying to find, and then we want 6x to be broken into two parts. If we cut this in half, directly in half, we'd put a 3x here and a 3x here to split up the 6x. And now we're solving for this c term. The way we're going to do it is we're going to start our box regularly. We're going to say, oh, that's an x and an x. You'd get a 3 here, you'd get a 3 here. And then instead of checking to make sure it equals the thing in the last box, we're going to fill in the thing in the last box by saying, what's 3 times 3? It's 9. And then from the side here, we're going to read off that this should have been 3. This is a skill we'll use when we go from standard to vertex. From standard to vertex, just as a preview, is something like, if we've got x squared plus 10x plus 17, and we want to put this into vertex form, what we'll do is we'll complete the square on this part only. Copy down the 17. And then this is a preview. If this doesn't make sense, we're gonna have to do this in the next video. So this is just a preview, but this is when we're gonna use this skill. We're gonna complete the square on this part, knowing that it's 25, and then we're gonna subtract 25 from the back to balance it out. We're going to factor this into this part, and then we're going to say 17 minus 25 is 8. And then all of a sudden we'll have our vertex form. But the completing the square step, this step right here, is what we're practicing on this assignment. This is, again, a preview. Don't worry if that was too fast or if it didn't make sense. We'll definitely spend more time on it. So let's do some practice like you'll see on your assignment. The game is, let's read the instructions. Complete the square for the following expressions. Fill in the blank so that the resulting quadratic is a perfect square, right? So we want to say what goes here that makes this perfect. First step. Draw a box. Fill in first 3 squares. So here's the box. We're going to fill in the first square with an x squared. And then the second 2 squares are going to both be 5x, right? Subnote, the second and third square are each exactly half of the bx part of the expression. And by the bx part, I mean this part, right? The middle part of your standard form. We filled in our 3 squares. Our next step is to start, or to fill out the top and side factors. So this is actually going to be the red step. We're going to say x is x times x. We need a plus 5 here to get 5x. We need a plus 5 here to get 5x. And then our third step will be fill out last box by multiplying those 2 things. So 5 times 5 is 25. And this last box is what we'll put here. So this space is filled in by the last box. This space is filled in by the factors. Oops. Where it's x plus 5 times x plus 5, so it's just x plus 5 squared. I'm multiplying. And then I should have made this a different color, but then we can fill out our answers. With last box and our factors. Let's try that one more time, 2 more times. For this one, we're going to make a box. Boom, 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 boom. The way we fill out that box is we put the x squared term first. We cut this term exactly in half and put half of it in each of the next 2 boxes. We fill out the top and bottom by just the thing we usually do. X is x times x. The negative 7x needs a negative 7 because it already has an x, etc., etc. The next thing we do is we fill out the last box. Negative 7 times negative 7 is positive 49. And then we notice that our factors are x minus 7 and x minus 7, aka x plus a negative 7 squared. And we could rewrite this if we wanted to look fancy. to just be x minus 7 squared. Let's try one more time. This is the hardest one we'll do. We fill out the box with our first term, and then half of this in each. Half of 7 is 3.5. The same steps, there's just going to be decimals. We say x is x times x. We need a positive 3.5 in order for this to be 3.5x. Again, we need a positive 3.5. And then we get a calculator out or ask Google and say, what's 3.5 times 3.5? It's 12.25, which means our number that we needed to make it a perfect square was 12.25. We've thus completed the square and got that our factors are x plus 3.5 squared. Again, this step, this completing the square step, is very integral to being able to change vertex form into, to turn standard form into vertex form. That's the skills we're practicing today. If you have any questions, please come to office hours or email me or Schoology message me. Try to get this homework done before the break. It's really nice if you're on break to not have any homework to worry about. And you can do that in math at the very least by finishing this assignment before Wednesday. All right, I will see y'all in class on Monday, and hopefully I'll see you before then. Bye.